Almost every American believes in the mantra of personal responsibility. But do they act that way? It's easier to say that you're in favor of personal responsibility, but harder to say that if you get laid off, well, that's your problem, and the government shouldn't do anything to help you. But is that what personal responsibility really means? If everyone agrees that you have to rely on yourself and not the government, then why do only 21% of Americans say in a recent Gallup poll that they're satisfied with the way that things are going on in the United States right now? Obviously, a lot of them are dissatisfied. Are they blaming the government? Is that not taking personal responsibility? Why not take charge of your own life? Well, that's what the Tea Party people are asking for. I think it's always a little hard to tell with them. But which political party is really the party of responsibility? Phillip K. Howard, author of The Death of Common Sense, joins me now from Chicago to help answer some or maybe even all of those questions. All right, Phillip, let me ask you. More. Okay, all right, good. Then we're in for a good time. First, let me start by asking you, what do you think taking personal responsibility means to you?
Well, I think most Americans want to do it. They just want to do the right thing. And that if they taking care of yourself when you can, making sensible judgments to make things happen that ought to happen, fulfilling a duty that's yours. Most Americans want to do that.
Right. No, everybody wants to do that. I don't know. I literally don't know anybody who's like, I don't need to do anything. I want to sit on the couch and have a brewski, right? So at least they wouldn't admit that, right? But let's talk about the role of government. So how does that play into personal responsibility? Are you less responsible if the government puts out the fire in your house, if you got a fire in your house, or does that not have anything to do with it?
Well, I think government has an important role to provide social services and other things, but government is a problem because sort of unwittingly government has removed the conditions of responsibility. So increasingly people don't feel free to take responsibility. A teacher, for example, can't maintain order in the classroom because there's so much law and bureaucracy. They can't even put an arm around a crying child. Doctors squander billions of dollars because in tests they don't think are necessary because they don't feel free to be responsible because they don't trust the system of justice. The governor comes into office in New York State, finds that 90% of the budget is pre-committed by old laws and mandates that he can't do anything about. So now, how does he take responsibility to balance the budget?
Now, I hear you on all that, and that's all very good points, and I probably agree with 90% of what you're saying on that. But I think that there's some really fundamental hard questions to answer. For example, with Social Security, before we had it, we had people starving the streets. I mean, we had senior citizens who I don't think we want that, living off of cat food, etc. On the other hand, do I want people to be responsible for themselves and plan for their future? Of course I do. So how do we balance that?
I don't think that the argument here is over regulation, deregulation, social safety nets or no social safety nets. What's missing here, and both parties are missing this, is Americans no longer feel free to roll up their sleeves and make things happen. And I think that's a significant problem in our society. It's possible because the age of life expectancy has grown up so much that maybe the responsible thing to do is to change the age for Social Security a couple of years so that we can balance the budget. But that doesn't have anything to do with whether government should provide it.
Right. Well, and I would disagree with that. They always say there's no money, there's no money. Yeah, there's no money if you want to keep taxing the rich at an incredibly, historically low rate. If you tax them a couple points higher, then there'd be plenty of money. So, I mean, and then that goes towards responsibility too. How much do we have a responsibility to our fellow man? Or is it, hey, everybody's on their own. If if there's robbers in your house, good luck to you. I got my own personal security. Or do we have some communal responsibility too?
Of course we have communal responsibilities, but the most important thing that's missing in America today, that no one at any level of responsibility, not the president who can't get important environmental projects going because it takes 10 years of review, and not the teacher in the classroom, can roll up their sleeves and make decisions. And that's a significant crisis of responsibility. There's no problem in America that couldn't be solved if we don't sit down together and make choices about how to provide Social Security, how best to be prudent in health care expenditures, but no one feels they have the authority to do that. And so, we need to kind of restore our ability to, as the part of the common good, to make choices again. That's what being responsible is.
All right, Phillip K. Howard, thank you so much for an interesting conversation. Appreciate it.
Yeah, nice to be with you.
All right, thank you.